Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Human Memory versus Artificial Intelligence. Thank you all for joining us today. It is wonderful to see people starting to come in. My name is Abira Athar, and I will be your host for today's session. To share a little about myself, I am part of Team Futuristic Learning, and I'm also a gold medalist in one of the disciplines from World Memory Championships. As planned, we are going to start right on time, and we will let others join in as they come. Please note that we will try to take a few questions towards the end of the webinar. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. So here's a quick overview of what we'll be covering in today's webinar. One, we will look at the difference between human memory and artificial intelligence. We will look at the strengths and limitations of both, and we will discuss how human brain is still one of the most powerful assets that we own. So to explore these topics, I have two guests. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome them. They both have dedicated their careers in understanding and training the human mind. First, we have Sania Alam. I would like to quickly share my screen with you, so give me a second, please. So first we have Sania Alam. She is the founder and CEO of Futuristic Learning. She is also the coach of world champion in memory, mind mapping, and speed reading. She was named Brain of the Year by UK Brain Trust. She is also the recipient of Lifetime Achievement Award by US President Joe Biden. So welcome, Sania. Thank you for joining us today. Second guest is Emma Alam. Emma is the world memory champion. She also holds 2 Guinness World Records in memory. She is also the recipient of Prime Minister's Youth Excellence Award. And to give you a little idea of her extraordinary memory abilities, she has records in memorizing over 400 words. I'm not talking about 150. I am saying 400 words in just 15 minutes and over 200 names and faces in 15 minutes. So you can imagine how great her memory is. So let's welcome both of them. Thank you, Emma, for joining in. I'm going to stop sharing the screen again. And welcome to the two of you. The first question is for Sania, because this is what we are observing globally. Why are people inclining towards technology and AI? I mean, there is a lot of usage of AI, even for remembering things, be it writing small messages or emails, or for problem solving. I mean, for everything, everyone wants to use AI and technology. So why is there such a dramatic increase in this, and why is there such a dramatic decrease in using our own cognitive functions? Could you please answer that?
Thank you so much, Abira, for having me on this webinar. It's wonderful to be here and have this opportunity to discuss such an important topic with everyone. And hi, Emma, and welcome everyone for joining us to this on this webinar. It is one of our first webinars ever, and I do plan on doing more webinars talking about some of the hot and trending topics where people are confused and maybe awareness and knowledge can be added to everyone's general knowledge. So we look forward to doing more webinars about that. But to start answering your question, Abira, let me just lay the foundation for this webinar. I just want to let everybody know what this webinar is not about. Okay, so this webinar is not about comparing the human intelligence with artificial intelligence. So we're not, Abira, in any kind of race to decide which one is better, because the reality is that artificial intelligence is faster That's what it was designed to do. So, for example, if I ask ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude for information, it can search through enormous amounts of data and give me answer in seconds, just like that. Like whatever you can ask it, it will provide the answer for you. And quite frankly, humans simply cannot do that. And there's a simple reason for why we cannot do that. And that's because we don't need to do that. We're not built that way. We don't need to have all that unnecessary data lying around in our heads for no apparent reason. So today's discussion is not about proving that the human brain is faster than AI or any better than AI. Instead, it's about understanding what makes human intelligence different, what makes it more valuable, and why developing our own memory and thinking skills still matters in a world that is increasingly powered by AI. So now getting back to your question, Abira, why are people so willing to stop using their minds and just hand everything over to AI? Again, the answer for that is pretty simple. The human brain likes to do things that require very little effort. And whenever granted the option, it will always opt for things that require bare minimum effort. So things like thinking, analyzing, remembering, and making decisions, these all require mental effort. So naturally, people incline towards tools that can perform some of those tasks like thinking, remembering, analyzing, to those apps or AI that can instantly do that for them. So hence we see an increased usage of smart gadgets and AI because we incline towards things that require less effort.
Wonderful. That was a great start. Now, let's dive into our second question. So, before discovering about learning and memory, I'll quickly share my screen with all of you so you can look at the question as well. So, my question is why, before diving into the question, what is AI and how does it work? Because let's first talk about AI itself, right? So, Emma, I'd like you to answer that, please.
All right. Firstly, I want to say hello, everybody. It's lovely to see everyone here and joining. And thank you, Abira. It's wonderful to be on this webinar. And thank you to Coach Sania as well for inviting me here. Now, to get straight to your question, in all honesty, AI is incredible, and there is no denying that. But when we come to what exactly is artificial intelligence, so artificial intelligence, or AI as we call it, is a machine that can perform any intellectual task that a human can at or above our level. Now, that's one of the simplest definitions of AI. And it does this and it works through modern AI systems that use large data sets and algorithms to learn from examples. And over time, these algorithms start to identify patterns. They adjust their behavior to make predictions. They create content. They can analyze large amounts of data. They can answer questions without any human intervention. And they can also automate any repetitive tasks. Tasks that once took hours can now be completed in minutes. And AI is already being used all over the world by individuals, by companies, by military institutes, and even government departments. And even though AI recently gained traction, we have to keep in mind that it was introduced about 16 devices. That's tools like Apple's Siri in 2010 and Amazon's Alexa in 2014. That's when they were introduced to the general public. Then generative artificial intelligence became a household phenomenon in the late 2022 when we had tools like ChatGPT and image generators that were launched for public access. So AI is for sure going to get even bigger and even better in the months and years to come ahead.
All right. Thank you, Emma, for that wonderful explanation about what exactly AI is and what it can do. So there is actually a mixed reaction from public because we cannot even any longer trust on social media because it has become so unreliable and untrustworthy. So my question is, should we fear AI? This question is for Emma. Sorry, this question is for Sania.
I'll go ahead and answer that for you.
Yeah.
Abira, the fact is, it is very true that AI has become quite scary. It is a topic that induces a lot of anxiety in people, and people feel threatened by it. And that's because majority of the population still doesn't know much about it. It's an unknown territory for majority of the population. And the fact is that people do fear what they don't understand. But many think that AI is that text box in which you type in something and it thinks on your behalf. It researches on your behalf, or it can write or code on your behalf. It can generate images or videos on your behalf. And it can do that all with a click of a button. And that's the AI most people have been introduced to. But the fact is that this side of AI is just what we call language intelligence. This is the side of AI that operates entirely in the digital world. It doesn't interact with the 3D physical space around it. But then there's another side of AI, which the scientists call embodied AI. And that basically just means robots. So embodied AI. And let me put it into even more simpler words. Embodied AI is basically it's artificial intelligence that's been designed for deep spatial awareness. So they have this awareness of this 3D space that we humans operate in. And that artificial intelligence with that spatial awareness has been placed in some form of a body, such as a smart vacuum. So those vacuums that you just have to press a button and they can maneuver through the furnitures and clean out your floors and carpets. So that's a form of embodied AI. Then we have drones, then we have humanoids, and now we even have self-driving cars. Those are all the other side of AI, which is embodied. So it's not just a text box where you type something and get an answer or generate an image. And as you mentioned that, social media has become such a scary place because every time we open, say, Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, we're able to see something that we cannot tell whether this is true or whether it's real or fake, because technology is getting really, really good at faking with perfection. So having said that, however, that no matter how sophisticated or complicated or scary this technology sounds, machines don't have independent values. Machine values are human values. So in other words, AI doesn't wake up with a hidden agenda or a desire to take over the world. It's simply a mirror. If it's fed bias, it will reflect bias. If it's programmed to solve climate change, it will do that. If it's optimized for healthcare, it will do exactly what it's told to do. So the answer to your question, Abira, technology isn't itself scary because it's guardrails, its intentions, its ethics of the humans that are building it that will determine our future.
Wow. So in simple words, AI is basically mirroring whatever we are feeding into it. Sanya, again, the next question is for you. What are the positives and negative aspects of AI? Can you elaborate on that a little?
Absolutely. So there's always two sides to a coin. We all know that. If AI can make our lives better with a single click of a button, then there are also sides of AI that could potentially be harming us because of misuse of it. The negative or harmful side of AI comes to play when people stop using AI as a tool of assistance to save time and start using it as a replacement of their own thinking. So if AI is writing every email for you, if AI is summarizing, say, every book for you or every PDF for you, and is solving your problems or remembering things for you, because ChatGPT can even do that. It can work for you as an assistant and remind you for everything, then eventually our own mental capabilities and our own cognitive skills are not being exercised because we're outsourcing everything to these smart gadgets and AI. And whatever we don't exercise, Abira, whether it's our bodies or our minds, we lose fitness. So the right approach should be human-centered AI, where the AI is being used to expand what humans can do without taking away all that we can do. Having said that, Abira, AI is powerful. In fact, my entire team uses AI every single day, and you can vouch for that. You're part of my team. We use it for writing, we use it for generating images and videos, you name it, and we do it. Web designing, research, brainstorming ideas, and many, many other tasks. We even have paid subscriptions to more than 10 different AI platforms across the organization. But again, Abira, AI is not replacing my team's own intelligence, it's complementing their intelligence. We do not simply give AI a task and let it do everything for us. We still have regular brainstorming sessions where no AI tools or phones or smart devices are allowed. Rather, what we do is we sit together, we mind map things to generate ideas or solve problems within the organization, within team, within projects, and use mind map for creative thinking. Then we have memory techniques to remember things. We use speed reading techniques to gather knowledge fast and make informed decisions. In fact, I personally don't even use any reminder apps of any kind for remembering things. I use my own memory. And then we also have brain games, meditations, focus exercises, and other activities built into our work culture. So for me, AI is a tool that helps my intelligent team become even more productive and save more time, which they can then use towards personal development. So the human mind remains at the center of everything that we do at Futuristic Learning.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification. Now, my next question is for you, Emma. Many people fear, as I mentioned earlier, that everyone is absolutely inclining towards usage of AI. So many people fear that AI will eventually take over their jobs and they'll be jobless. So do you think AI will replace humans completely?
So that was a great question, and I think it's a concern many people have nowadays. So I would say that AI is already changing many professions. And if we keep looking for jobs that AI cannot do or it will never be able to take over, then we'll probably not find anything. Because AI already has the ability to do things like diagnose diseases, draft legal documents, write code, it can analyze financial data even. So instead of asking what jobs can AI never replace, the better question that we can ask is what aspects of human intelligence will always matter, even with AI being there? Because AI can assist us, it can suggest, it can analyze, but humans are still responsible for the judgment, the ethics, the leadership, and making the decisions that actually have consequences. If we talk about doctors don't just recall facts like an AI model would. They understand those facts, they talk to the patients, and then they're responsible for the outcome. Moving on to a lawyer. A lawyer doesn't just know the law, they persuade, they negotiate, they use their own judgment as well. And so the people who will succeed are not the ones who refuse AI entirely and are not the ones who rely on it completely. It's the people who integrate both. And to answer your question in a simple way, let me break this down into four parts. So there is job versus tasks, and there's automation versus augmentation. Let me explain. So job is the entirety of your role. So it's the big picture of what you are hired to achieve. And tasks are the dozens and sometimes hundreds of individual pieces within that job. Moving on to automation, automation is when AI performs the task independently without any human intervention or any kind of supervision. versus augmentation is when AI expands human capabilities without replacing human collaboration and judgment. Now, to put this into perspective in the real world, so if we take an ICU nurse does 200 plus tasks in a day. Those tasks include manually entering patient data into the EMR system. Now, AI cannot replace an ICU nurse, but it can take over certain tasks that the nurse does every day, such as automating that manual data entry. And when that happens, the nurse gets that time back to spend on what matters most, which is the actual human care. So you see that an ICU nurse job is not replaced, rather the tasks are automated and the overall job, we can say, is now augmented. And that is what AI is doing across industries. It is not replacing jobs, it's just reshaping them. So the future belongs to people who combine their own expertise with AI and it's not the people who hand their thinking over to it like completely. And this brings me to another very important point, which is that one of the most irreplaceable human skills, if we talk about, is memory. And that's not only because our life in the end, if you think about it, is made up of our memories and the essence of our memories. And that is what makes us human, but also because memory is what lets us judge what AI tells us. Because to make any kind of good decision, you need the knowledge that's already in your brain. And that knowledge is what allows you to think, it's what allows you to make connections and figure out what's actually right. Because we have to see that AI at the end of the day is just a model. It just gives you answers based on what it thinks you want to hear. So we can never blindly trust it. And we cannot make an important professional decision just because AI said so. We need to know it ourselves and then use AI to help us. And when we stop doing that part and when we just hand over our entire thinking to technology, then our minds start to deteriorate. And we're already seeing that happen. Young adults are becoming more and more forgetful, and science is telling us this as well. The Gen Z and the Gen Alpha, who are growing up surrounded by AI and all kinds of smart devices, are not building their own memory skills at the same time. And that means that for them, because they're growing around so much technology, building their own memory and their own thinking skills matters now more than ever. Because as AI gets more powerful, which it is already getting more powerful, the human mind needs to get sharper, not weaker.
Wow, Emma, I loved how you differentiated and dissected it into four aspects. Wonderful. Thank you for that answer. Now, Sania, coming to my next question. I mean, why would anyone want to train their memory? Because AI can remember anything and everything. It can remember more than any human who has ever lived. So why would anyone want to train their memory?
Thank you, Abira. And I'm seeing there are some comments, there's some questions in the comment section. People are asking that AI will get stronger. There's artificial general intelligence that's coming out. Yes, AI will get powerful. Yes, there will be times when we have this fear that they'll take over the world or they'll be stronger than us and we won't have much control and they'll be much in command of everything. Will AI get there? Most probably, definitely, things will get there because we are not these days. AI is so fast, it's not improving in years, it's improving in days. We saw when ChatGPT came in, it was like it was spread out like wildfire. Everybody was exploring what's ChatGPT. And then think about it, a few months from now, when back when this was introduced, or a couple of years ago, and look at it now where it is. So yes, AI is going to get powerful. Yes, we are going to use it. So this webinar, I just want to clear, is not about us convincing you not to use AI, because that would be silly. We need to be up to date with technology. So your question, Abira, that's something a lot of people ask me. Actually, memory isn't about storage. There is absolutely no need for us to store all kinds of information in our minds. We only need to be able to store information that we need. And we need to be able to hold that information for as long as we need it. So it could be for an exam, it could be for a presentation, or it could be for, webinar until I present this webinar. So memory is really about access to needed information at the right time. Memory is about understanding information. And memory, most importantly, is about confidence. Because all expertise is built on knowledge that already lives inside our minds. So think about it. Think about the navigation system. Before GPS came in, people remembered routes naturally. But now, most of us can't get anywhere without our phones. Or think about phone numbers. We used to remember phone numbers by heart, but now we struggle to remember a few. Many even struggle to remember their own number. So the more we outsource, the more we lose our own abilities. And we will talk about what the right combination is of your own skills and using AI, integrating that into, everything that we do. So like I said, that we lose our own ability are using it. And that matters because a strong memory is not a destination. It is the foundation that everything is built upon. Better memory means better thinking. Yet you're not trying to compete with AI on storage. You are just training your memory enough to be able to hold information that you need to hold in your mind and be able to access it. So everyone absolutely needs to develop their own memory skills, yes. And as technology progresses, as technology is more, taking big improvements, the more it does that, the more we need to build our own cognitive skills because it's declining. There used to be an attention span of 7 seconds. So human had a short-term attention span of 7 seconds. That's now dropped. So if you post on Instagram, for example, a lot of you would know that Instagram now says that if you are unable to catch someone's attention in the first 3 seconds, you're going to lose them. So imagine how fast even our attention span is dropping. So there are a lot of moments where AI cannot do anything for you and smart gadgets cannot do anything for you. There are moments no app will help you. For example, when you're standing in a stage in front of an audience. So there is no AI that's delivering that presentation for you. Right now, I'm delivering this webinar. There's no AI that can replace Sania in delivering this presentation or webinar to you. So when you're on that stage, for example, in that moment, it's just you. So it's your memory, it's your knowledge, and your confidence. So for me, take my example for a second. When I'm training a room full of C-suite executives, or when I'm standing on stage in an auditorium of over 100 military officers, and I have to present there with confidence. I have to lead with authority and deliver with accuracy. At that time, I am completely relying on my own memory. And one of the questions I get asked most often is, where do I get my unshakable confidence? Every time I present, I'm done presenting, either it's a lecture or it's a 4-day course or it's a presentation of any kind. People come up to me and they're like, how did you develop this persona? How did you have this confidence to, you know, to own a room full of men in uniform or own a room full of executives twice my age? And my answer is always, and still is today, I use my memory skills to prepare well for my presentations. And the stronger my memory, the more confident I am in delivering presentations. Because at that point, when I'm on stage, I'm not struggling to remember what I'm supposed to say. Rather, I'm focused on my delivery, I'm focused on my content, and I'm focused on my audience, such as you guys right now. So confidence is a skill that can be built, and it comes from good preparation. But if you use rote learning, which is repeating information over and over and over again and hoping that it sticks, chances are in situations of extreme pressure, such as when you're on stage, there are chances 100% you will blank out. and you will panic. So you need to have a strong memory to perform in those moments, like the ones that I just mentioned, as well as other areas of life. So if you're in a surgery room and you're operating on someone, you cannot afford to forget something. So those are the places where I mean, you can prepare for a presentation using AI, but you cannot deliver. So at that time, your own memory matters. And Abira, this gives me a great idea. Our next webinar should be on how to deliver presentations with confidence. That's a topic I believe that a lot of people would need help on. Maybe that should be our next webinar.
Absolutely. No, I would absolutely agree with that your confidence is unmatchable. And I myself see a lot of people getting inspired by you for this reason. All right, Emma, coming back to you. So my next question is for you. When you come across complex information, a mountain of information, how do you approach it? So I want you to answer this question from three aspects. One, how would a trained person deal with it, like you? How would an untrained mind deal with that information? And how would AI simplify it? So please answer this question.
Okay, Abira, that's a great question because those three that you mentioned, AI, an untrained person, and a trained person, all process information in very different ways. Let me start with AI. So AI can scan documents, it can spot patterns, it can summarize content, and it can retrieve information faster than any human. And that's genuinely one of its biggest strengths. Moving on to an untrained mind. Now, when most people come across, as you said, a mountain of information, when most people see a dense page of information in front of them, they see one giant block of text and they immediately try to memorize everything as it is. And doing that makes the brain immediately get overwhelmed. Immediately, their attention drops, and very little of that information actually sticks in their memory. And honestly, even I feel that to this day. At first, I feel that way. If I share something with you, so right now, Coach Sania and I are actually in the process of building a memory challenge. This will be a challenge specifically for doctors and nurses and medical students. And when I opened the medical textbooks that the doctors had shared with me to design the course, I was stunned by the amount of technical information that was in there. But the difference is not what I see. So I see the same page as everyone else. The difference is what I do next. Now, as someone with a trained memory, what I would do is I immediately start organizing. I look for the categories, the relationships, the keywords, and any visual images. I then break down information into chunks using mind maps. Mind maps are the perfect tool for this. And then connect it to things that I already know. I also use memory techniques. I use something called the journey method. And this is when I take abstract information and I turn it into images, into stories and locations. I might imagine placing facts throughout a house or a route that I know very well. Because we have to understand that the brain does not think in lists, it thinks in images, it thinks in locations and associations. We can think of it like a wardrobe. So if in your wardrobe everything is thrown into a pile, then finding anything is an absolute nightmare. But when everything is organized, then retrieving any specific piece of clothing becomes almost effortless. So that is what memory training does. It teaches your brain how to organize information so that you can actually retrieve it and use it when you need it most.
All right, wonderful, Emma. That gives me clarity of why it is important to train the mind, the brain. Now, coming to my next question, again, it's for you. Many people ask, and they are struggling with focus and concentration. So they ask, how can they improve their focus and concentration? So that is my actual question. What role does memory skills or memory training have in improving focus or concentration? And can AI help us with that?
I'm really glad you asked this question because a lot of people think that memory training is only for when you have competitions or you have exams, but it is so much more than that. In fact, recently, due to social media, and I'm sure everyone will have noticed this, kids, students, and professionals, everyone is losing their attention span. And as Coach Sania also mentioned earlier, and this is not happening randomly. This is happening because companies are using AI algorithms that are specifically built to keep you hooked, to keep you scrolling, to keep your brain in a constant state of distraction, which is why focusing on your studies has immediately become harder. Focusing on your work has become a lot harder. Even sitting with a single thought for 5 minutes is a lot harder. And we wonder why we cannot concentrate. So, in my experience, memory training teaches you a lot more than how to remember things easily. It builds your concentration, it builds your focus, and it builds your discipline. You can think of it like a gym for your brain. Even if you do it for just 15 minutes a day, you are actively strengthening the parts of your mind that the algorithm is trying to weaken. So, memory training engages parts of your brain that over time make those functions like focus, concentration naturally faster and stronger. In fact, this is exactly what we teach inside the program Memory Mastery. And professionals who are inside the program, they tell us that yes, they're remembering things a lot better for their work. But the bigger surprise is what happens on the side to this. On the side, as a result of that training, their memory training, their attention improves almost immediately, their focus sharpens, and their mental clarity comes back. So, for anyone who is watching and they've ever felt like their mind is foggy ever since they started using these social media apps, or you just don't feel like you have that sharpness that you used to, Coach Sanya has designed the Memory Mastery Program exactly for this to give you the tools to bring that edge back. Because as you asked, can AI help us with this? Well, focus and concentration are the foundation of a truly high performing mind. And that is something that AI cannot build for you. Only you can do that for yourself.
Okay, it's almost time. We're towards the closing of the webinar. So, Emma, again, this question is for you, and I will later on ask the same question with Sanya. Is there any practical advice that you would like to share with the audience that they can practice on their own to strengthen their memory, thinking, and overall cognitive functions? Is there any advice that you could share right now?
Absolutely. And that's what everyone's here for. I would say to start very simple. So try to learn one new thing every day. It can be something small. And before you go to sleep, try to recall it without looking at your notes. So this practice takes less than a minute, but it keeps your memory active. So in fact, let's do this. I have some hand brain exercises that everyone can do right now, and it'll be something that you learn new for today. So,
Perfect.
Abirik, if you can stop sharing your
Yes,
screen for a
absolutely.
couple minutes so
Absolutely.
that my window will be bigger for everyone to see. So, what I'll do is I'll demonstrate a couple hand brain exercises,
Right.
and I want everyone to follow along. Now, these hand brain exercises train your bilateral coordination and they activate both hemispheres of your brain at the same time. And because your brain is forced to focus on the movement and the coordination at the same time in a new way, it has no choice but to be fully present. Okay, let's try this. So everyone can hold their both hands up like this. On one hand, hold up two fingers. I'll go
Perfect.
slowly at first. And
Right.
then on the other finger, hold up one and then point towards your other hand with this one. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to switch hands. Now we're going to have two fingers on the left hand and point towards it
Right.
and keep switching. Let's go slowly at first. Now let's speed up if you can. All right. Okay, I have another one. So again, hold up one finger on your right hand and with the other hand point towards it.
This is the second
Now
one,
we're going
another
to
exercise. There is
the
slight lag in.
left and point with your.
Emma, could you repeat the second exercise,
Can you
please?
hear me?
The
Yes, let
second.
me repeat the second exercise.
Perfect.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let me do that. Okay, so we're going to hold up both hands and we're going to hold up one finger on the right and then point towards it with your left hand. Then we're going to switch, hold up two fingers on the left and point towards your left hand. Then we're going to keep switching the pointing finger and increase the number of fingers you're holding up. So 4 fingers, then 5. Then when we're at 5, we go back to 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, then 2, then 3, then
Wonderful.
4, 5.
Amazing.
As a bonus, we have one more last one. This is a little harder, but these exercises tend to be very popular, so it's something you can practice for 30 seconds on your own as well. So hold up both hands again. On your right hand, you're gonna take out your thumb, and on your left hand, you're gonna take out your pinky finger.
Right.
Now we're going to switch at the same time, thumb on your left, pinky on your right. Okay, keep switching. Do you notice how your brain actually feels like it's working?
I can feel it. I can feel the workout.
It's a good way to get those neurons firing, and it's something new. So it causes your brain to focus and it causes your brain to get those neurons active. All right. I hope everyone had fun with that.
That was wonderful.
All right. Other than these exercises, we also have free brain games and meditations that Coach Sania has designed on our website. And the best part about this is that there's no sign up required, there's no payment, and anyone can just go to the website at futuristiclearning.com and start using them immediately. So that's a good way to keep your brain active. And on my social media, either at memorymastery.pro on Instagram or at MLM Champion on YouTube. I regularly share brain boosting hand exercises and memory techniques that professionals and students can use in their daily life. And if you want to go further, if you want to go deeper, we also have a online memory mastery course. And honestly, this is the most practical and comprehensive program that's out there for building a sharper mind. And I can say this because I myself took this course many years ago. It is the reason that I won the championship. It's the reason I was able to cover over 2 years of my education in a matter of a few months. And other than this, if you're a medical professional or if you're a medical student, we are also launching a 6-week medical memory challenge that's starting on August 17th. Now, this one is a 42-day program that's built specifically for doctors, nurses, and medical students to train faster recall and build their confidence under pressure. And we're going to be covering everything in this course from anatomy to pharmacology. And we're going to be doing this together. We'll start at the same time and we'll go through this step by step. And spots in this challenge are limited. So if anyone watching is interested or if they know a doctor or medical student, you can get on the wait list on our website today. In fact, we will have the link for the Memory Mastery course and the challenge waitlist link in the chat. So you can also check that out there.
That sounds exciting, actually, the 6 weeks memory challenge. Thank you, Emma, for sharing those exercises. They were actually mind-boggling and fun at the same time. Now, Sania, coming back to you, any advice that you'd like to give the audience that they can start applying and implementing from now onwards?
Absolutely, Abira. This is towards the closing of the webinar. I want to add, let AI empower you, not overpower you. Use it, but don't abuse it. And remember, the most important stakeholders are our future generation. The future generation is the one who is going to be living in a world that is dominated by AI or technology driven by AI. So do use AI, but don't outsource everything. So do this instead. So before you ask AI for an answer, and I think this point will answer a lot of questions of a lot of people that are commenting in the chat box. So before using AI for an answer, spend a few minutes thinking about the problem yourself. So kind of like analyze it and do some of your own brainstorming before you ask AI. Before asking AI to summarize something, try summarizing it in your own words before. And before asking AI to generate ideas, challenge yourself to come up with a few first yourself. And I also want to add, Abira, that technology can really make a difference. So learn what this technology is about. Learn what AI is about. You don't need to become a researcher, but you need to learn what the world is offering in terms of technology and how it can make your life better, because this technology can and will change, such as our healthcare system for the better. It can make our governments more efficient. It can make education systems stronger. And maybe, just maybe, you could be that change maker. If you can learn to combine AI with your own area of expertise and then merge that with a trained mind or a trained memory, just imagine how powerful it would be, whatever it is that you're doing. So use AI to save you time so that you can use that saved up time in doing things that are for your own personal growth, personal development, like working on your mental, emotional, and physical health, working on things that make this world a better place, making a contribution to this and the future generations to come. And remember, please remember, you are your most powerful asset. Behind every AI is a human that's designing that. So you are the most powerful asset, and it is your responsibility to keep yourself at the peak of performance. Do not let AI lazy you into a life that will have adverse consequences to your mental, emotional, and well-being. And as Emma mentioned, everything that we do at Futuristic Learning is to make you better, smarter, and healthier version of you. So everyone should be on the lookout to ways to improve your mental agility and memory. And the best place to start is at obviously Futuristic Learning. And before I end, we do have a few minutes. I wanted to take this time to answer some of the questions that I was reading in the chat box.
Perfect.
Yes. So there's someone who asked that what if, so rote learning, repeating or rereading is, does it mean rote learning if you're doing rereading to revise? Well, first of all, if that's your only method of remembering is by rereading and rereading and rereading, then yes, that's an issue. You are doing rote learning. And having said that, in our speed reading course, so even though this webinar is about memory, but we do offer speed reading course as well. Speed reading course does allow you to reread things. In fact, you have to reread things, but those things are not for rote learning or for, thinking that you didn't comprehend something in the first round, so you have to reread and reread and reread to better understand and make better comprehension out of the text that you're reading. It's not for that. That's a different technique, and that we do rereading for a different reason. So this webinar would be not the right place to talk about that, but you can reread, but if that's your only method of understanding something, then that might be just the wrong approach. Someone asked, what are the AI models that we use? I cannot list them here. If you reach out to us via email at info@futuristiclearning.com, we can list out some of the tools that we use and my team uses on a daily basis. There are plenty of free tools out there, but there are paid versions. We use the paid versions because we have great detail of work that we do, but nevertheless, there are free versions of everything, and I would be happy to provide that list to you. Third question someone asked was, if there's a complex data that we are feeding to AI to make it easier for us to understand, yes, please do that. That's one of the things that is designed for. But the point of this webinar wasn't so that we can convince you not to use AI. In fact, we want to convince you to use AI, but we don't want to have it do everything for you. And the reason being is, so for example, we have cars, we have bikes, we have airplanes and everything, all kinds of transport modes, doesn't mean that we stop walking and we stop exercising our own bodies. We can do that. We never have to walk again. We can just get out of the house, get in the car, and get to where we want to get to. We never have to run. We never have to jog because we have all those technologies and all those things at our hand. But the loss is yours. You are not exercising this impeccable body that you have, this impeccable intelligent system that you have. So you have to sharpen it as fast as AI is being sharpened. As smarter as AI is getting, you have to work twice as harder to become smarter. A lot of people were asking about the journey method. Journey method is a very, very ancient technique of storing information at locations. So this house, I'm at my house right now. So this we consider this as a journey. So the journey through my house from the main gate to where I, take off my shoes, to where I put my car keys, to kitchen, to my room, to the living room, to the dining room, to the TV room, that's all journey. And what we do and how we use that is because the human mind remembers this journey very well. Every one of you right now, I can challenge you if I were to tell you, what's on the left wall of your living room. You can probably close your eyes and picture there's a frame there with a horse on it, and it's, grayish in color and so forth. So naturally, what we do when we're using journey method is using what we already know and placing information that we need to know or need to remember along those locations. It's a very, very fun technique, a very ancient old technique. It's also called the loci method. It's called the journey method. So there are so many names of it that whatever you can call it. It's a very good technique and one of the most used techniques by memory champions like Emma or memory athletes like Kissa, Nabil, Mustafa, and the others that compete around the world. Someone asked in the chat box, hand exercises are like multitasking, and we have stated before in our videos on social media and through our courses online that multitasking is not healthy for your brain. That is true. Multitasking is not healthy for your brain, but that's tasks. So for example, I'm emailing someone, that's a task, and at the same time, I'm engaged in a conversation over the phone with someone. So my brain is neither there. It's divided between that email that I'm writing and that conversation that I'm having over the phone. And at the same time, I'm thinking about 10 other things. That's multitasking. That's where your brain will have issue and it's not healthy for you. But doing these exercises that Emma was teaching, that's not multitasking. That's actually you're using the right and left brain hemispheres. And we need to do that. The more we combine the right side and the left side of the brain and make it work together, the more better for us. So it's not multitasking, it's exercising both hemispheres of your brain. Well, majority of the population uses either one side of the brain majority of the time. So for example, if you're an artist, you're probably using the right side of your brain because the right side is the creative side. And if you are like into accounting and maybe an engineer, then you're using mostly your left side of the brain because that's the analytical side of the brain where you do all the math and all the calculations. So we want the creative right side and we do want the analytical left side to combine from time to time or perhaps daily so that we can combine the power of the entire human brain to use it towards our jobs, towards our careers, towards the things that we are doing. We are just I cannot see if anybody has asked any more questions, but if you have a question, please email it to us, info@futuristiclearning.com. I would be personally happy to answer if it's a question that's for me, or otherwise my team will get back to you with whatever answer, whatever question, whichever question that you have. We're happy to support your ongoing growth. That's what we do. Everything that we do, the foundation of our work at Futuristic Learning, whether it's a course by Emma, whether it's a course by me or any one of our team members, it's to make your life better. In fact, when Emma mentioned medical memory challenge, that was initiated because a lot of doctors were coming to Emma's Instagram page, and they were like, I'm a doctor, but my memory really sucks, and Emma, I need your help. And so we kept getting this comment from time to time, and DMs in the inbox. And so then Emma and I were like, you know what? We got to do something for these doctors. We really have to combine something to bring out that solution for them. So when you reach out to us, you share a query that you have, or an area of your life where you're having difficulty, we then do something to make it easier for you. That's what we do. That's our aim. And I look forward to being of help and support to your well-being in any way that I can. Thank you, Abira. That would be all from me. Thank you, everyone, for joining. It was wonderful to have to be here to share this knowledge with all of you. I hope you learned something, and I look forward to keep seeing you in the future webinars and our online courses.
What a perfect way to finish. That was the most beautiful takeaway that even today, still, human brain is one of the most powerful and most beautiful. I wouldn't just say powerful, beautiful as well, assets that we own. And if we take the time to train it, we can actually make use of it. Otherwise, we would never realize its power. So thank you so much, Sania and Emma, for joining me for this webinar. It was wonderful to conduct this webinar and answer a lot of important queries that people keep asking us about AI and memory. So thank you both for joining in and sharing your time. And thank you to all of you who are watching and who joined this session online from all over the world. We are here at your service. We are here to help you with your learning, with your brain's potential, how you can improve your life by using your own brain. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and rest of the day. And see you all in the next session. Keep growing and keep learning. Take care.